Mordialloc College has sparked a debate over student rights after booting out a Year 10 student for having pink hair. He says he dyed his hair to support youth mental health, but the school claims it's against policy. Child psychologist Michael Carr-Gregg joins us now. So too, recent graduate and tutor Rion Ahl. Thank you both for your time this afternoon. Michael, let's start with you. What's your reaction to this student being told to cover up his hair in order to stay in class?
Quite disappointed. I would have thought that with all of the issues that young people face in 2023, depression, anxiety, self-harm, suicide, that a young person making a stand on this should be lauded, not kicked out.
Rion, over to you. Do you think it's reasonable for schools to have expectations on student presentation?
Well, I think the issue that we've got here is this big conflict between these traditional values that we have in our institutions, these rule-based values, and the desire that is very important for a lot of students to speak out not only on issues such as mental health, which are really important, but also about their self-identity. And so with all of that in mind, we do have to acknowledge that uniforms play a really important part in a lot of school culture. When I wore my uniform, it meant that I fit in as part of the community, and it meant that I was able to have a lot of pride in that community. There's also the benefit that a lot of the time, for some students, uniforms might mean that if you don't have a uniform, you have to go and you have to buy a whole lot of different variations of clothes. Some families may be able to do that, others can't. But beyond all of that, I think really importantly, we have to remember that schools are there as teaching grounds for our students. And so uniforms allow, more than anything, that ability to teach that there are rules, and we have to figure out how to express ourselves and talk about these really important issues within the guidelines and rules that our institutions set.
Just on that, Rion, though, I mean, the uniform's one thing, right? Dyeing your hair pink separate to the uniform, do you think that's acceptable here?
Well, I think that in this case, there's a lot of complexity. We do have this issue of mental health that's really important, but I do think that the hair and, in general, any sort of physical appearance when you're presenting to an institution, it does fall under the category of uniform. And so we have to have that debate about whether we respect an institution, for example, one that, in this case, that is providing an education and the rules that they're setting, whilst finding another way in order to express, again, what is a really important issue in mental health.
Michael, why do you believe it's important for kids to be able to express their personality, or in this case, a social issue, while at school?
One of the key developmental tasks for any young person is to answer the question, who am I and what do I stand for? In this particular instance, this young person is expressing their identity and promoting a very important social issue at the same time. Schools have to choose the hill that they die on, and for me, this isn't one of them.
What would you tell the leaders at this school, Michael?
I'd love them to reconsider this and reinstate this student as soon as possible.
Rion, in your mind, are there other ways or better times even that students should be able to express their identities, or in this case, as we say, a social cause?
Well, I think that's a great question. I think we're all in agreement that the issues such as mental health, these are issues that need to be expressed. And so when I sit back and I think, what are schools there to teach us? They're there to teach us to communicate freely. And so we need to find out, how do we respect the rules whilst being able to communicate who we are and what we believe in? And I think that we go to the core of what schools are about, which is about writing and speaking your mind. So if there's a way and a change that comes out of all of this, I think that it has to be opening up more avenues for student advocacy. We should be having student newspapers, for example, in every public school and private school in the state. We should be having student advocacy groups, because that allows a healthy, rules-based way for students to express what they believe and who they are without all the controversy about breaking any such rules.
Hey, Michael, quickly, what would have happened in your day if you'd rocked up with pink hair?
I probably would have been asked to change my my hair colour straight away, but it's 2023, not 1974. So I would have hoped we'd advanced a bit.
Times have changed and so have we. Gents, thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you.